Good afternoon, everybody. I'm an addict, and my name's Robert. I'd like to thank Sonia for the introduction. I'd like to thank all the trusted servants for making this possible. But separately, I'd like to thank Wilhelmina a lot for setting me up, because there is no possible way I'm going to be able to top what Hogan just did. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about judges. So like in the past, we've always focused on specifically drug court judges, right? Because drug court judges are the ones that direct addicts. If you're outside the United States, the people from the Netherlands, South Africa, Ireland, England, thank you all for coming. We really, in Canada, so our friends up in Canada, we really appreciate you all coming in. So in America, like we have a thing called drug court, and that's where sometimes people get diverted to drug court. And the drug court judge will specifically design them to say, okay, I'm going to choose you to go to rehab. I'm going to choose to send you to jail. He makes a lot of decisions. So a lot of times in the past, what we have done is we've targeted specifically drug court judges. And now we found out our targeting point was very, very much too narrow. We have to broaden our scope to attach family court judges, other judges, local judges, because judges change hands. Like a lot of times they'll get voted in, they'll get moved to a different position. There'll be a local judge, then they'll become a county judge. So there's a lot of turnover, and a lot of times we just don't follow up. I hear a lot of background. I get it's a lot. Okay. So now, God, I'm getting so much background. Wow. Okay. So we targeted. So now we understood that our focus was too narrow. So now we're broadening it out to any judge that will come in contact with a using addict, right? And that could be a family court judge, that could be a civil court judge, that could be any different judge. Now they'll come in contact with a using addict, but they'll also come in contact with an addict that has mental health issues, right? So as we begin to contact these local judges, we'll see if we'll be able to do a presentation. We're going to offer them two presentations, a live presentation or a virtual presentation. Now, does anybody here have issues trying to get trusted servants in public information? Please raise your hand. All right. So now I'm scrolling across the screens and I'm looking, so nobody else has an issue in public information getting trusted. I see Canada over there, she has an issue, but nobody else has an issue getting trusted servants for public information. That's great. All right, no, lots of hands, awesome. Okay, cool. Netherlands, Ireland, Canada, awesome. Chicago, okay, Belfast. Okay, now I feel comfortable that it's not just my little area problem, that this is a worldwide problem. We have a problem getting trusted servants for public information. But by every one of you just raising your hand, you know what you just did? You just gave me the hope that now if we do a virtual presentation, depending on time zones, I can reach out to you guys. Now, who here would be interested in doing a presentation to a judge in New York? Please raise your hand again. All right, I got a guy up there in Canada. I got somebody from the Netherlands, Canada again. Canada's very helpful today. Thank you. Our friends from Canada, Chicago, awesome, awesome. So what you guys just did is you guys just showed me that, like, if we have a virtual presentation and we have a problem, because we only have 8 groups in our area, right? So we're coming from a very small pool of people. But what you guys just did is give us hope that we can reach out across the whole world and have you guys help us do presentations virtually to judges. And that will also show them that Narcotics Anonymous works worldwide. So I'm going to, in the sake of time, I'm going to move on to the next one. Now I'm going to talk about the elephant in the room, okay? Mental health, okay? Before I start my presentation, right, we are our worst enemies, okay? We can do all this work that we want. We could do everything that Morgan just did, right? Worldwide Facebook, we could do poster drives, we could do everything that the guy from New Jersey is going to talk about coming up next. We can do all of that, but we are our worst enemies. Because why? When somebody from mental health comes walking into our home group, how do we treat them, right? In my home group, when we met live, what we do is we pass around a meeting list, right? And I don't know if anybody else in the world does this, but like if you're a newcomer, we pass around a meeting list, and men give the men the phone number, women give their women the phone number. And I've had people grab the meeting list and they said, who is this for? It's for an addict that needs a phone number, right? Who is it for? And then when you point that person out, that person makes a decision. Is he willing enough for me to give him my phone number too? And he will pass that meeting list and not give his phone number. Number one, when you put out your phone number on a meeting list, the addict ain't gonna call. Right? They never call. So you putting your number on him, but you're judging that person because of their mental health. We've had people that won't give somebody a ride to a meeting because of their mental health. We have people that won't sponsor people if you have a mental health disability. So we can do all the public information we want, but if as a home group, you're not welcome to embrace these people, right? So when we move to Zoom, all of a sudden we have a guy pop up on our screen, and he's literally sitting in a closet, right? And he's like, my name's so-and-so, and I'm really glad we have this on Zoom because I have a social disorder where I cannot be out in public. I cannot see people. I cannot touch people. And I've been doing public information for over 24 years now. This is a targeted group that we have never targeted, right? And so this person kept coming to our home group, and he was like, well, you're reading literature that I don't have. And we're like, well, you can order all this literature off of World Service. And he's like, I don't know how to do that. But he trusted my wife so much, right? This is somebody with severe mental health issues. He trusted my wife so much that he gave her his credit card information and had her order him a basic text, it works how and why, just for today, and a step working guide, and delivered it, and the post, and we delivered it to his house, right? So now we've started to contact the mental health providers, right? And we specifically are asking them, what can Narcotics Anonymous do for you? And they're like, okay, in this, we're understanding now that mental health people can strive on this virtual platform. They can literally not show their face. They can literally put a different name. They can hide their identity. They can go to meetings on the other side of the world where they'll never have to meet or talk to these people. And now these people are striving in recovery, right? So the places we've contacted so far has asked us to create a meeting list from our region with strictly Zoom meetings. So like Morgan, who is such high tech, this is the only thing that I have, my only slide that I have to show you, that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and we're literally going to handwrite in each Zoom meeting till we can get to the point where we'll be able to make the list to send them. So now when you're sending out a letter to a mental health facility, if you just put mental health facility, what's your chances of that letter getting opened? It ain't. It's going to go right in the shredder, right? So now how do we target getting it to the person that we need to get it to? I just wrote down, my wife just wrote down copious notes. Morgan had a perfect one, LinkedIn. So now if you could find somebody on LinkedIn that's in that facility, you have a name that you can send it to, right? So also what we would do, we would send it to the director of operations, or we would send it to the executive director of that facility, right? And instead of putting the Mohawk River area of Narcotics Anonymous on it, I personally put my home, name, and address on it. Because if they get something, they usually have somebody sort out their mail for them. And if they see something come from Narcotics Anonymous, they could think we're trying to solicit money. We want something from them. They're not looking at that we're trying to offer our service for free to help their clients. So we personally put our name and our sticker on there because that's just that much more of a chance that that person's going to open up the envelope, right? And that's the main goal, to get them to open up the envelope and actually read what you send them, okay? So I'm going to end with this. So after we do that, when we do this and we finally get it down to the point where these are the Zoom meetings, we're also going to add in 2 more Zoom meetings. I'm going to ask Wilhelmina to send us the 24-hour Zoom meeting that they have in New York City. And we're also going to put on it the international 24-hour marathon meeting and explain to these professionals that these meetings have been going on for 2 years now and have never shut down. That 24 hours a day, there is always somebody on that meeting. So if you have a client that's struggling and 2 o'clock in the morning, they can't find something, they might pop on and they might find Willa from the Netherlands. They might find Brian from Canada, right? They might find, let's see who else is here, from Nicole from the Netherlands, right? They could find Duff from over in Ireland, right? From Belfast, right? These are the different things that we're trying to do. So and every quarter, I will come to the public relations world meeting that we have, and I'll report an update every quarter for the webinar that we have through World Services, and let you guys know our progress on how our little 8-group area in upstate New York, how our progress has been going with these things. So again, I'd like to thank every one of you for being here. I'd like to thank every single one of you for doing service for Narcotics Anonymous. And thank you for letting me share.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful. Thank you. Yes, are there any questions from the floor or virtually about Robert and virtual presentation to judges?
I have one for Robert.
Okay, come on.
Sorry, I'm on a bit of delay here. Thank you, Wilhelmina. And thank you, Robert, for sharing. You and I know each other personally, and I want to thank you for your empathy and compassion as it relates to these 2 topics, especially mental health. 2 quick questions. As you know personally, Robert, I am someone who has been a consumer of mental health services, and since getting better in that regard and working towards becoming a provider of mental health services for people, and have a lot of people that are acquaintances of mine that have questions from time to time. You, as a representative for PR in our area, would it be appropriate if I had questions coming our way to direct them directly to you in the future?
What I would say is at our next area meeting, we will be having a nomination for a new public relations chairperson. She's sick. She's sick today, so she couldn't be with us. For the past 6 years, we've been grooming her for this public relations because English isn't her first language. So for 6 years, she's been on our side, attached to our hip, driving to Brooklyn, driving to Rockland, driving all around, learning about traditions and concepts and different things. So at this present time, yes, but in the future, we will have a public information chairperson that you would direct it through her. So that's, but we've been grooming her for 6 years.
Okay. Okay, well, I will gladly be at area next month. My other second question is, I don't know if it's something that you might be able to answer. I've heard anything about as it pertains to mental health illness and the stigma attached to it, even in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous. Have you or anyone here on the panel heard anything about literature moving forward with this mental health and the NA member IP that I've been hearing about has been in the works for years? Have you heard anything along those lines?
It's out. Yeah, that mental health IP is out.
Is it out?
Yes. It's available.
Is it? Okay.
IP 30.
All right, then I will talk to you about that personally next time we talk. That I did not know that it's been out for a couple of years, because I have never seen a hard copy of it or a virtual copy. So that's all I have. Thank you.
It's brand new.
Okay, come on, Heather.
Can't be brand new.
Hi, I'm an addict named Heather. So Robert, thank you so much. My question to you, so up in Ontario, in Canada, we, as part of the public relations, we've been reaching out to organizations that serve communities that have additional needs. The blind community, the deaf community. We have not reached out to the mental health community. And so you've really opened up a whole new road for us to go down. But I wanted to know if you've been reaching out to the other communities, the deaf community and the blind community, community with physically challenged. I know that now that there are so many virtual meetings, that, before the pandemic, there were 2 meetings a week for the addict who's deaf. Now there's 15 meetings a week. They're all sourced out of the US. Last night we had our very first, we've been reaching out for a year and a half now. And a lot of these organizations we've been going to never even heard of Narcotics Anonymous. Last night, I had somebody reach out to me saying that they thought they were an addict and they needed help. And he came to an NA meeting with his own interpreter. It was like such a blessing. So I just wanted to know if you thought of reaching out to those communities. That's all, Robert. Thank you.
I just wrote down on the list of, so far we have like 5 pages of notes we've taken so far, and that's what I just wrote down. No, personally, we have not did that, but that's something that we will put on our agenda to not exclude them, because that's, that this whole thing has opened us up to see that we have been so narrowly focused, we're missing the broad spectrum. So yes, thank you, Heather. That's a great question. But no, we have not done that. But yes, we are willing to do that.